Okay, how should you train? What should your weekly running look like when you don't have a goal race in mind? I got a great question in the comments from Johannes.
Hi Lee, 43 years old, just finished my 10k race last week at sub 40. My current 5k is sub 20 and a half in sub 131. I'm not planning any race for the next 6 months, so what kind of training structure and what pace interval should I be doing at the moment to keep my fitness so I can be ready for my next race, which is next year, a marathon?
Now, for me, since I got back into running in 2010, it's been incredibly important for me to not have any time off, to constantly be moving forward. It's not the best tactic. It's good to give your body a break from time to time. So if you're asking that question, it's because you're more sensible than me. And to give yourself time off, whether it's 3-4 weeks, just to maybe not think about running, maybe do some cycling or swimming or hiking, and just not think about the day-to-day grind of running. If it's becoming a grind and you're using that kind of terminology, maybe already it's a time not to get burnt out or injured or ill and just back off before it happens. It's the key to sustainability. The top level athletes, whether it's Olympic guys that are going to run in Paris, whether it's the top level sort of Kilian Jornet in the mountains, they all have a month to 2 months off every year, whether it's kind of cross training like Kilian, Skimo, or whether it's just a complete time off and they just spend time hiking with their family. It's really important to tap into that, especially if you've been chasing around the globe and you're doing different races. For me, I always had a target in mind. So whether it was a short, medium-term target, of course I had my long-term targets and lofty goals, but I always wanted something that I could focus on that would help you keep yourself accountable, keep yourself honest, and keep yourself getting out of bed and making sure that you had that motivation, whether it was the motivation to make the right decision on diet, make the right decision on the type of training, the type of easy run or recovery run or interval session you're going to do that day. It helps keep your eyes on the prize. Really, really important for me. And in a year, it might look like something like 6 to 12 races. It's a good number of races to do, and it's a lot of races, especially if you're going far like marathon or ultra marathon. And from those 6 to 12 races, I mean that maybe 4 to 6 of them would be A races, meaning I'm all in, I'm trying to win them or place, or I'm trying to set course record, or I'm trying to get a personal best. That would be my A races. And then the rest of the year would be planned around that. And the other 4 to 6 races might be city marathons, like in great cities where I've always wanted to travel, and I want to go and I want to sort of run, like personal best time plus 10%. And that became quite easy for me, and it can be quite easy for you. It's nice and controlled. You get to enjoy the day a little bit more. You don't have to completely laser-like focus, and it might help you enjoy a new city, whether it's a city in your own country, or whether you kind of go to somewhere nice in Europe or somewhere nice in America, somewhere culturally very different. It's a great, running a marathon or running a 10K or half marathon, running a big city race is a great way to see a new place and great way to sort of share commonality with other people. And for me, new experiences, the social side and the cultural side and travel is equally as important or thereabouts than the actual sort of progressing and getting better myself. So think about that. What I would also say is that if you're going towards what I would call a B race, so it's not so important, it's a great training race, use it as training and be disciplined enough to run slow enough so that it doesn't take a lot out of your body. And the way to judge that is just like a long run. So if you're going to do sort of a 10K or a half marathon or marathon, treat it like a long run. So if that's your Sunday or Saturday long run, then make sure that you are good to go again on that Wednesday for your interval session. That's a really important point, that you can keep consistent with the training and keep you moving and progressing forward without having to take back steps. When I'm racing towards an A race, it might take me 2 to 4 weeks to start running again. It might have taken that much out of the body, especially if everything's not gone right and I've tried to sort of carve out a result. It might take me a long time to recover, in which case that's time for me not improving, not moving forward towards my next goal. And sometimes athletes can get stuck, runners can get stuck in that, oh, I'm not quite recovered, but I have another marathon in 8 weeks and therefore I need to start training. You start to dig yourself a hole and it's really difficult to get out of. because you're essentially training towards something where you want to do really well again, but you haven't got your legs back. You haven't kind of felt good and fresh enough physically and psychologically to move forward and attack a training program again. You could put yourself in the wrong position, and it's all a case of planning. When I'm not training towards something, and it's kind of like, okay, I've got the next 2 months to just sort of get ready towards doing a training program, what I will do is sort of work back from the next goal. So if the next goal is 5 months away, for example, then I want to put myself in a really good place to start that 13-week or 12, 13-week training program, to start the next program. So I want to keep the habits fresh. I want to keep doing the interval sessions, getting that speed endurance, keep moving forward, and I want to keep doing the endurance and stamina, gaining that endurance and stamina from the long run. So I want to keep the structure of the week the same. The volume might come down, so it might look something like the taper weeks that we've talked about when you're tapering towards a marathon or a half marathon in order to freshen up the legs. You want to keep the legs fresh, but you also want to keep the intensity there so that you're ready to start your training program once you go again. So it might look like something like midweek interval session, something as simple as 6 times a kilometer, with a minute rest in between, but I'm doing that in marathon pace. That's quite a comfortable session, but what does it do? It keeps that zip in my legs. It keeps marathon pace or race pace for you in your legs. So if you're training towards 10K and you've got a 10K in 5 months, you might want to do something like 6 times 3 minutes in your target 10K pace. So keep it all relative to the distance that you're running. Don't overdo it. Just keep it fresh and fun. Super important to keep it fun. Then the long run might have usually looked like 25 to 50 kilometers for me. I just bring that back a little bit. And it might be 20 to 25 kilometers, but there won't be any specific marathon pace or race pace efforts within. So it'll all feel quite comfortable. And often it's about me getting out in the nature and feeling really good, just enjoying the surroundings of where I'm living at that time, whether it's Granada or whether it's Chiang Mai. It might be new routes and just finding new trail runs, etc. So yeah, it's important. The key things are think about the next goal and work back from that. So how long have you actually got off to completely relax or to take care of your body? Always have about a month, a year where you're taking time off, unless your training is not that high volume and not that high intensity. And then work back from that. Keep the structure in your week. If you're still going to train, still do the interval session, still do the long run, back off a little bit on the volume, keep the recovery runs, keep the easy runs, keep practicing running, and maybe it's time, if you've got time off, to focus on your weaknesses. Your weaknesses, you may not even know them, but your weaknesses may be something like, I need to improve strength. And if I improve strength and hit the gym, then and specifically focus on the big power muscles and making robust lower legs, I'm going to put myself in a really good place to start the next training program towards a key race. Really important, great question. And if you've got any more questions like that, pop them in the comments. And if you're getting anything from these videos, please help the channel out. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.